So I didn't realize how many episodes were out already, but I decided to start watching Secret Level over on Amazon. Have you checked that out yet?
No, I didn't even realize that it dropped already. I thought it was coming out on Netflix.
It's an Amazon show. Yeah, it started the beginning of December. I think I kind of want to say the 8th. I don't remember. But I thought it was just going to be a weekly thing. But there's already 8 episodes out. So I think they're just doing the 10th. So they dropped 8 episodes on the 10th, and they're dropping another. I guess the second half on the 17th, which is around the time this episode comes out. The rest of the episodes will be out for that show. I got through the first 6 episodes. They're pretty cool. They're from the people that did Love, Death, and Robots. I've only seen a couple things from that show. I know Jerry liked most of the seasons from that.
Oh, I remember watching the first season. I don't think I've checked out the second season yet.
I like what they do on that show. A lot of different art styles and stuff that they go with, and I was like, I need to watch. I'm like behind on so many shows, like new seasons and stuff, and I figured, well, this one should be fine because at least the episodes aren't like an hour long each. They're only like 8 to 20 minutes. But yeah, you know what? It's not bad so far. Some of the ones I'm like, I have no idea what game this is from, but I'll just check it out. The big highlights so far have been Sifu, the Warhammer one, and the controversial weird one that's Pac-Man, which we're going to talk about later.
I would say a lot of them are probably going to be like a little left field, considering like they're just going to take like artist creativity and just try to do whatever they want with it. My understanding, if it kind of gives you that vibe, like Love,
Death, and Robots, yeah.
I can see how it would give you that kind of vibe. From what I remember now, a lot of them were really on the on that mindset of like, at some point we're going to try to throw a plot twist in here and we're just going to see if you can figure it out. You wouldn't get it at all left field. I don't know if that's really the vision for Secret Level or if it's really just supposed to expand on what is going on in this universe for this character. Without watching anything, I was under the impression it was supposed to be more like an expansion of what happens probably after the story or before the story or during the story.
Yeah, for like each individual game, right? From the episodes I saw, it's just, okay, we have this IP. Let's just like take a slice of it and kind of tell a story. Like, I don't think Jerry hasn't seen it yet, but like there's the Sifu episode, which is episode 2, and I haven't played it yet, but it's doing like broad strokes of what I know that the story is, and it's doing its own thing with it, and it's actually like pretty good episode, like the way like the art style they match pretty well with, and just all the dynamic scenes that they can do with the angles of the camera and stuff with when all the fighting happens. But I'm pretty sure how they wrote that episode is not how like the actual narrative plays out in the game. But I mean, like what the story they told was pretty nice, and like the way it ends ties up nicely with how like the beginning was and stuff. And I would say you probably just consider it as a one shot, like within this universe. Kind of like how they're gonna do the Death Stranding movie at A24. It's not gonna be a direct adaptation of the story of the first game. It's just gonna be its own thing.
Okay, yeah, that just makes me literally think of an expanded universe of Death Stranding. Like, it doesn't have anything to do with any of the main characters or anything like that. It is just a story in the universe set of Death Stranding.
I guess so. We still don't have like a whole lot of details with the movie. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be Sam Porter Bridges, or is it going to be like during a different time point, like within the universe and stuff. Who knows? See, like when I first saw the trailers for Secret Level, I kept thinking like there's a character you see, right, that's like, it's just like some random like CG model or whatever, and I was thinking, oh, this is going to be like the viewer's perspective character where he's going to explore all these different game worlds and stuff and see these stories. But it turns out that character in the trailers, like he's involved in only the Pac-Man episode. It's just going through the game, and like there's just a specific theme and character that they're focusing on for each of the episodes, which, okay. It's not bad. I mean, like the first episode was Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm gonna be honest, like that could just be a Love, Death, and Robot episode. Like when I was watching, I was like, yeah, I have Dungeons and Dragons, sure, like there's video games based off of it, but I'm like, this could have just been like a Baldur's Gate or something. It could have been anything different besides this.
I can see where you're going with that. Like if we're talking about like a dungeon fantasy setting, like it could have been something actually relevant versus like the board, basically like the board game.
Yeah, because like all the characters, I'm like, yeah, these are just generic races and classes that are in D&D. It's like, okay. Yeah, I've been seeing hate on it on Twitter and stuff, and I guess because like the way like the CG looks for some characters, I guess like Mega Man is a big one. But I would say it's worth a watch for sure. Even like just the film direction and like the quality of the CG, it's crazy how good it is now.
Yeah, that captures my attention for sure. Basically what I wanted, a lot of like as far as to say, I know that we got like the very first example that comes to my mind is Gundam, like Battle Angel Alita, right? Like I get that we got the movie.
Yeah.
I get that. I still personally haven't seen the live action, but I would still say that with the kind of art direction and like things that they could have done during Secret Level, like that kind of direction, that kind of art style would have been cool for that series specifically. I just feel like that's kind of like the niche for kind of like sci-fi, like a post-apocalyptic animes and kind of stuff like that. Like that should just be the standard. But that's kind of here and there because that's not really a video game. But that's just kind of what makes you think about it.
But no, if they did a show for Alita, yeah, I would want it CG for sure, and like probably have this team or like ILM or like some other big CG studio to just make these like high level renders of everything. I haven't seen it yet, but yeah, the last episode they dropped was the Armored Core one. I'm looking forward to that because I've been hearing good things about it. And I tell you, can't wait to go see what's going on over there in that Concord episode, man. That's gonna be a time. I haven't like looked and researched if it was true or not, but I kept seeing like because they did the Concord trailer before it came out. Like, oh, dude, like none of these characters were even in the game. Like these were gonna be new characters coming out. So this was just an even bigger promo for that game, and like it's just gonna be even funnier now because that game's gone. Like this is promo for nothing. I was like, that would be pretty freaking funny, man. And it's funny too because, like, again, we're gonna talk about it later, but like with the Pac-Man episode and with the Concord, you can tell like, okay, yeah, I guess the show was supposed to show like the love of video games, or whatever, but like clearly these two episodes were like advertisement episodes for what's to come. That's kind of funny in a way, just to see that. It's like, well, yeah, like they just bought episode slots to promote something that's coming out.
Because honestly, how many people would have been excited for a Pac-Man episode if they weren't going to do what they're doing for these future projects for at least that IP? You'd get some old heads. You'd probably get like one or two people around our age that'd be like, yeah, I remember that. You know, but it's not like something that had drew in your attention, you know, like comparing to all the other Namco Bandai games. It's
like the episode itself, it's like not like if you watched it, you would not think it has anything to do with Pac-Man until like the very end of the episode. And like that's what has a lot of people upset. And I mean, it makes sense when you see like the game they revealed that's tied to this. But yeah, just if you didn't know that information and you watch this, you're like, yeah, what is this? This could just be any generic like kind of sci-fi slop. Like if they did an episode where it was like the PS2 Pac-Man games, like that could have been pretty cool.
Curious. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out.
I mean, I kind of liked it in a way because it's definitely something I wasn't expecting tonally. So I'm kind of interested in what that game has to offer.
Was it the unexpectation of the tone or the tone itself that you liked? Just to be clear.
Yeah, I liked the tone, but yeah, I was like, I think part of that is also like being surprised by it. And it like what really catches you is like the last third of the episode, and like they just go all out in what happens, and you're like, oh shoot, okay, I wasn't expecting like that kind of stuff. Like this is pretty interesting. I'm interested to keep looking at whatever they're trying to go with this new approach to Pac-Man. The only thing I've been doing lately actually is been playing the Marvel Rivals game.
Oh, it's free to play, isn't it?
Yeah, free to play. All the characters are unlocked. The only thing you spend your money on are costumes or skins, as you will. And geez, yeah, the skins range from like on sale at $16 to like $24.
On sale. On sale, $16.
Yeah.
It's wild. Good Lord. Oh, so if we're talking, okay, but is it microtransactions available through in-game not through in-game currency, through like pay
like fake money.
Yeah, like fake money. Do they have like real money that I can pay for fake money kind of add-ons, or do they just have like straight out microtransactions like it amounts to this amount of dollars?
Well, you have to buy the in-game currency, but it's like 100 coins equals $1, and the skins are like 1,600, 2,800.
So like when you look at the DLC and they're like, "Oh, do you need to buy some coin or whatever?" You know, like what is the lowest amount, considering that like just to buy a skin is 1,600?
Well, they're actually generous. I think the lowest is just $1. So I think they have that in there too, because they have the battle pass. Obviously, there's the premium version, and I'm assuming you have to buy like a specific pack, and then you'll have leftover coin. So if you still need to grab a few hundred to pick something up, you could just buy it like that. But yeah, they have a freaking pack for the Guardians. It's Star-Lord, Rocket, Groot, and Mantis. It's a 4-pack of all their costumes, and it's like $40-something.
Jeez.
And like I guess to be fair, you get the skin, and then you get, I believe it's like the highlight intro, because so the game's basically Overwatch, but at the end of the game, like when a match ends, it'll show you who the MVP is, and it's an animation. And so if you buy those skins, you'll get an animation with that skin as well.
Okay, yeah. So basically, it's like a flare or whatever, like an entire like.
It's like, I mean, I don't really need that, but that's cool to have, I guess. It's Overwatch. It's crazy insane right now, because if you click, quick start, in 2 seconds, boom, you hop in a match. And like the longest I've waited is probably 10 seconds. And it's also crossplay automatically, so you're just getting everybody in the same pool. So yeah, just so many people on it that you can just find matches.
I was a little skeptical at first because obviously, Overwatch really has a stigma to it, even when you mention it. Like hero shooter in and of itself is just like, everyone is aware of like the negative connotations to that.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that kind of really just made me want to stay away for a little bit. But I'm genuinely interested to try to make sure that we can get this to work, man, because that'd be cool. Like I would like to try to get in on that. I'll tell you, for what I've seen, I have seen a lot of clips like on Instagram and stuff on like people just kind of figuring out all of the strats that they have for all of these characters. One of the interesting ones that I saw was like it was like a Doctor Strange. What Doctor Strange does is he has like this ability to like create the warps, right? With his,
the portals,
like, little circle magic. Yeah, the portals. So he had a Hawkeye on his team, and what he did was I don't know if they were in their spawn, but I think they were right outside of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so he creates the portal right in front of his spawn, and then he puts the other end above, kind of like looking down, like top-down view over the, what would you call it? Like the little area where you have to kind of take it over. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, like the point capture section. Yeah,
right. Yeah, the point, basically, right? So he puts the portal over the point. And so what happens is now they have like a clear view of everybody, all the enemies on the point from above them. And Hawkeye's just like sniping at everybody through the portal,
mm-hmm.
and fucking killing everybody without actually having to step into it. And they couldn't get over to him in time because the portal is just hanging in the air. Like there's no way to get to it. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh wow, that's a really good idea. And then the other thing I've been seeing is, of course, with the strat with Jeff the shark.
Yeah.
So another strat that I saw with Doctor Strange is, like basically Jeff is basically what he does is he'll go around swimming through like and his ult involves him like creating this whirlpool, I guess, where he can capture not only enemies but his teammates if he wants to.
Yes.
And so usually the strat is he'll do the whirlpool around a group of enemies, and then just immediately try to go for the nearest ledge and just try to out of bounds you, just so that way you fall through the environment and you die. I saw Doctor Strange. He basically knew where this Jeff was going to do it. He did it right in the middle of the ledge. So he put the portal down right as he was trying to anti-hero himself and all of his teammates. And so he like spits everybody out, and they all just land through the portal. and they all just go jump right back to the portal, and they just kill the shark like immediately. Just fuck his ass up, and they're already on the point. I was like, oh, that's so smart, dude.
Yeah, that's like one of the only ways to counter Jeff when he does his ult like that. Like it's the meta. Like if you see a Jeff in there, it's like, yeah, you're get ready to get thrown off. And sometimes like the way like you get launched out, you could still like survive. Jeff will just like fly off the map with you. Like he'll just kamikaze to just get everybody off. He has his ability where he can swim, and he can basically swim as long as he wants. And so on one of the matches I was in, he's just swimming around, and like I'm just trying to attack him like as I was cloak and dagger, and it was just hard to get him because he's underground, and then like the way like the ledges work and stuff, and then he was just swimming around the health pool and just staying in that area like that. It was just so annoying. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a learning curve for this game. You can assume it's just Overwatch and play. It was just a matter of just trying to figure out how the characters work. Like I want to play Wolverine, right? Like Wolverine's my guy. But man, when I first started playing him, I'm like, yeah, I just don't get what's happening with this. Like the way his abilities are and stuff, I'm like, I'm just not getting it. And I'm seeing all these clips of just people just destroying teams as Wolverine, and Wolverine going Kaioken and stuff.
Yeah.
The other day I was playing as him. I'm like, okay, yeah, I kind of figure out you just have to constantly just use all of his abilities. Try not to get like swarmed by more than 2 people, and then you can be okay.
I saw a video for Wolverine, and I thought he was kind of squishy.
He is.
Like, I just think, like, one thing that I will say about Wolverine that I like is I definitely like his character design. He's got the fucking 90s fit on, you know? Like, he's just rocking, like, the classic jeans, the jacket. He doesn't even have to have, like, his whole hair, like, up to par. He just has, like, the kind of natural updo that he has. The fucking shoes, man. I think those are the best part about his whole fit. Like, they just gave him, like, high tops. Yeah, honestly, I just thought he looked cool.
Yeah, I'm okay with the design. Yeah, the jacket's interesting. It looks like a blend of, like, a leather jacket that, you know, Logan always wears, but also has, like, the shoulder pads like his classic outfit has. It's interesting.
It kind of reminds me of a leather jacket and a sports jacket.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's a fun game. I haven't played everybody yet. I'm just trying to, like, pick a few here and there. Yeah, I mean, it's the best time. Like, it's a fresh game. A lot of people are going to play and stuff. And the only gripe, I guess, is, like, sometimes, you know, every now and then in a match, there won't be a healer. So it's like, okay, are you going to be a healer? Or are we just going to, you know, just squat up and go? There's that classic, like, hero shooter thing where it's like, yeah, everybody wants to attack and all that. Like, it's like, well, there's rules to play, you know? Yeah,
that's true. And then the whole thing kind of gets fucked if you kind of just tweak it, you know? Like, if they just decide, what is it? 5v5, 6v6?
It's 6v6.
Okay, so we're using the original Overwatch thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
To wait a minute, are they instilling like the 2 roles? So like 2 tanks, 2 healers, 2.
No, so there's no role requirements. You can be all tanks, all, I mean, like, whatever the terms are called, all healers, all attack.
Right.
Yeah.
So really, like day 1 Overwatch was like there were no rules yet. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Eventually they had to start implementing stuff in order to change like quality of life for the game. Like, we're gonna really start to see where like everything is unbalanced when people start using like multiple Hulks on a team, or, you know, like multiple Venoms or whatever the fuck it is.
You can't pick the same character. It's just one each.
There's still the roles that are available, but the characters in between those roles you can still pick. So is there like 3 or 4 of each role?
No, there's a lot. I was surprised how stacked the roster was. Like, I wasn't keeping my eye on it the whole time. It's like over 20 characters. I think it's 7 tanks, like 8 support characters, and then there's like just a huge amount of just, you know, just attack characters, basically. And, you know, like I say the healer thing, like, it kind of just depends on your team too, because there's a good amount of characters that can heal on their own, and also like give themselves like armor as well. Yeah, depending on how your team chemistry is, you don't need a healer for the most part. I haven't seen a lot of them, but Magic, I think, is pretty crazy. Like, me and Akil were playing, and like she was just targeting us because we were both the healers. And Magic is a melee character, and every hit she does, she gains 30 health back.
That's way too much. Out of how much health does she have to begin with?
Probably has like 300 or 400, I think.
And so this game doesn't have the same thing as Overwatch, where basically every character can heal themselves.
Oh, the passive healing? Yeah, no, they don't have that.
Yeah, like passive healing, because I think some characters eventually just ended up getting like some sort of like.
Overwatch was just a whole mess, dude. Like it was like, yeah,
It still is a whole mess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like only healers eventually got all passive healing, which was nice. And then eventually everybody got passive healing to some degree. Like that was just their way to, or so that we don't have to play healer or whatever. Because I'll tell you, man, like if you're just gonna solo queue and you're just waiting for your full team to fill up and it's like 2 roles each, you're gonna wait a while because if you're not picking healer, no one is.
I don't think shit's changed, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't think healer's that bad either. Who are the options for healer again? One more time.
So for healers, you have Cloak and Dagger, Loki, or Jeff the Landshark. You have Rocket Raccoon, Luna Snow, and Mantis. I think those are all the supporting characters. Oh, excuse me. There's 33 characters.
Who's Adam Warlock?
Oh no, I forgot he's a support. He's like in the cosmic side of Marvel, like Guardians of the Galaxy. His movie counterpart, it was in Guardians 3. Yeah, it's a fun game, man. And like the biggest thing too that's really cool. Oh god, what do they call it? I think they just call it team ups. So like, there's a lot of these characters do team up in the comics with each other, right? Like all the Guardians are together. Like there's X-Men, Avengers and stuff.
Yeah, X-Men and Spider-Man.
Yeah, so they'll have an icon next to their character selection. It'll tell you like, hey, if you pair up with this other character in a match, then you get this passive ability, or you can do like this special attack. So like that's really cool. Actually like try to figure out how like what kind of team you want to have. Like like if you have Wolverine and Hulk in a team, like Hulk can throw Wolverine.
I was talking to Akil about that. I think that's the only character that Hulk can throw, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's the fastball special.
That's interesting.
Yeah, like Rocket and Jeff can sit on Groot's shoulder. If you have Venom and Spider-Man, Spider-Man can get some symbiote attacks. Same thing with Penny Parker. She gets like a different thing when Venom's in the team. What is it? If you have Iron Fist with Luna Snow, because I guess their powers are kind of similar or something, they each get their own unique ability to use. Like, there's just a bunch of stuff like that. So it's pretty cool.
Do you feel like those passives make it worth kind of selecting other heroes you wouldn't normally use? Like, to me, I feel like that would kind of enthuse people to pick these other characters because they know that they'll at least get some sort of buff or passive without really even trying to do anything other than just pick the character. I think that possibly gives people incentives to try to pick up new characters. But I can see that this would probably definitely need a lot of labbing, because trying to take something like that immediately into like a ranked match and shit, you would still be like frustrated as fuck when you're still getting cheesed up against the meta,
Yeah, I mean, for most of them, it's just like, oh, you get an extra attack button. Like, you get to press triangle for an ability. Hulk and Wolverine, like, all you can do is throw, so there's really nothing there. With Rocket, Groot, and Jeff the Landshark, if one of them are on Groot, like, you both get damage reduction. But yeah, the rest is, like, as long as you're on the team, like, you just get an extra button. So there's definitely, I would say, more incentive to do stuff. And also, like, you can request to do a team-up if you want, if people still haven't picked.
Oh, you kind of like nudge people to be like, hey, you should pick this character.
Yeah, like while it's still in the loading screen, you can just ping and it'll say like, hey, this character wants to do a team up, and then it'll show you like which characters you can team up with.
Good. That's a quality of life change that I can agree with.
Yeah, and I think it's perfect for this because it's Marvel. It's comic IPs. Team ups is synonym for comic books.
Yeah, you make a good point there, don't you? Now that I think about it, I was like, it was pretty much kismet. It's like meant to be. Good shit, man. I'm looking forward to seeing this grow. Hopefully in a year's time, we'll still be saying good things about it. I guess the only thing I've really been into recently is the Cult of the Lamb. And so I was already playing Cult of the Lamb, and I had just gone back to want to beat the game. It's a pretty good game, honestly. I think it was by Devolver, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they published it.
Not that long, honestly. So if you're kind of good at roguelikes, then it shouldn't really take you too long to get through it all. But it's definitely worth it. And it's really manageable, too, when it comes to, like, the trophies. Like, I think you'd be able to get a plat off of it without too much difficulty. I gotta say, I like the story. The story is pretty cool, at least for what it was. the game doesn't just immediately end after that either. So like you can still keep going, and I think the replayability is really in the post game. So I'm just really just gonna be like finishing up my trophy list. I think I got like about 6 or so left, and it's just like, you know, collecting all of the equipment, all of the like designs and collectibles. Like one of the big things about the game is like you get like followers, and so like you end up going through these different levels, and you can get like basically like these different I'm gonna call them designs. Like you can get like a different design for your follower, so it's like a different animal, right? Like there'll be like woodland critters or sea critters, like forest critters, things like that. Like the story in and of itself, it's pretty heavy. It almost kind of makes you think a lot about like putting your blind faith into things, or who and what you believe in and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, cool. I think it's also pretty fun because it gives you options too along the way of what your character would do, or I guess what would you do in these situations. So you get to have like this opportunity of choices in certain moments down the line in the story. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I started dabbling in one of these games I bought a while ago. A Turnoblade. I think I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not mistaken, this was a Vita game that they ported.
A Turnoblade? I want to say I've seen that. Is it like a girl with pink hair or something like that?
Not pink, but like brown hair.
Oh, there were 2 of them.
Yeah, and the sequel is definitely on console because it got a massive like visual upgrade in graphics.
I knew this game sounded really old. Like to me, I was like, this sounds like a PS1 game. This is just a port, isn't it?
Yeah, it came out in 2014. Yeah, 3DS and Vita. And then eventually it came to PlayStation and Switch. And honestly, it feels a lot older than that. Like, it says 3DS and Vita. I would believe you if this was a PSP game.
To me, it looks like a PS1 game.
Yeah, it's got like that low poly count, like just the way the aesthetic looks. And even like how kind of basic it is to like the way you load into games and stuff, or load into save files and all that. I'm going to keep playing it just to see what's going on because it's very so you have currency to buy like your upgrades for your health and like all your other status points, but you also have that same currency for combos. It takes a while to even get to the point to hit upgrades, and all you have is just a square combo that you can just mash every time, and the only difference is if you jump or crouch. But other than that, man, like, yeah, it's just, you're just running around, in like little platformer, and you're just fighting this like the same type of enemies over and over again.
Yeah, I'm watching the video right now, and Thor, this looks pretty dope. It really gives me that Metroid vibe. It doesn't give me like the dungeon crawling. Like obviously we don't see a mini map, like so it really feels like it's a linear thing, probably like Castlevania 1 through 3 and stuff like that. But it definitely looks like it's got that winning formula to it, that classic adventure beat 'em up type game.
The main gimmick for it too, your magic in this game is you can rewind time. That goes with like attacking enemies, it goes with puzzles, and it's also going to be like the crux to you defeating like the demon lord at the end of the game. I joked about it in the party chat the other day, but the Demon King has some weapon or something that can erase his past. So if he gets mortally wounded, he can just erase that moment. So I'm like, oh, he's just King Crimson.
Yeah, so he's literally Diavolo. Undoes the cause but leaves the effect, right?
Yeah, the theory is that like if you can, because you can like go back in time, you can go back to before he does that and still keep doing damage.
There might be some cheese here. There might be some cheese to it.
Oh, I've already been cheesing with it. There's like mini bosses like throughout like some of the levels.
And that's as long as you have MP, right? Do they have like items that you can use to like restore your MP, like in battle and stuff? You just pull up your item box.
I haven't gotten to that point yet.
It's honestly fucking crazy how cheap this game is looking at it. The second one is also on sale, and I'm looking at the trailers for both, and I'm like, it's crazy how this game is. What is it, $6?
Yeah, that's the main reason why I bought both of them, because they were both stupid cheap.
I'm looking at the costume, the Sea Breeze costume. They modeled cum gutters on her. That's fucking wild.
No, you say cum gutters?
That's what I said. That's what I call them, dude. Kind of like where her love handles should be, and you notice like you can basically see like the outline of her pelvis as it like, kind of meets her thigh.
Yeah. I'll get back to you guys on it.
So me and the wife, we've gotten a little bit past Arlong now in the English dub for One Piece. really, we really have not been watching that much, so we're not much farther, but we're about to hit, you know what? It's funny. I remember Gold Rogers Town being called Log Town.
Oh, yeah.
In the English dub, they call it Log Town.
Oh, like, interesting.
I'm sure it's still spelled the same way, but it's just pronounced Log. That's going to be cool. I'm kind of excited to see, like, her reaction to seeing Dragon and then not remembering Dragon for, like, 600 episodes.
Yeah.
Such a cool dad.
Yeah, I can't wait for him to be relevant at some point. Maybe.
Maybe, exactly. Like, I don't want to go too much into it without Jerry, but it gives me, like, the viral hit vibes. Like, where we get the dads at the end, remember? And then they just get held up somewhere, and they're like, okay, well, hey, he had his time to shine.
Yeah, they just blue ball us.
I think one thing I will say, again, not to really jump too much into this without Jerry, but like from what chapter is currently like released now, it's emotional as fuck. Let me tell you, I read the chapter, and then I thought of how far I am in the English dub from the point like where we see like Robin's backstory.
Oh yes.
At first, I was crying because, number one, the plot had vindicated my emotions right then and there for that particular situation that was happening. So I was excited about that. So I had happy tears. You understand? And then I thought about how far away I was from getting to watch that in the anime, like getting to see Robin's backstory. And then I had sad tears coming out. It became one whole thing. And then the final thought that I had before I ultimately broke down into tears and just started wailing was, this shit is going to get animated and I'm not going to see it until I'm probably 40 years old.
Well, I mean, that's
going to be a long time.
They're not that far. Yeah.
We do a good job. We watch like, at minimum, we watch like 3 episodes a sitting. So at 3 episodes a sitting, it would probably take us like 3 years or so if we watch it. Let's say 6 days out of the week or something, you know? If there's a time where we're just going to binge through an arc, cool, like I'm down for that. But eventually that's not going to be so feasible. Like I think of Thriller Bark. Thriller Bark is like 73, 77 episodes. Like for the entirety of the arc.
Yep.
So I'm like, dude, this is going to be so long.
Well, don't worry, dude. When you watch the remake, and like they trim all that down, it should be hopefully more manageable.
I already start getting upset about pacing when we get to well, really anything past Alabasta is where the pacing for me gets kind of like
oh yeah,
I don't want to deal with this anymore type shit.
That's like, okay, let's not do filler, but let's not, let's take it easy. Let's slow it down.
Dude, stop.
Just give us what we want, man.
Yeah, I might have to switch over to One Pace and see how that does when it comes to some of this stuff. Because I think from my understanding, obviously a lot of us haven't seen it. I believe from the understanding and the impression that was given upon me, it really does still have all of the important bits. Like it's really just cutting out fluff, if any fluff existed.
Yeah, One Pace is an interesting thing to keep an eye on. Like I know a lot of like anime One Piece fans aren't the biggest fans of it because they're trying to keep it as close to the manga as possible when certain like scenes get animated, and sometimes it is just stretched out too long, so they'll cut that and like try to keep it like tight knit to how like it was on the pages. Like the recent one was Luffy and Lucci fought, right? And then like when Luffy goes gear 5th and then Lucci awakens, like they cut that pretty harshly. And a lot of people were hating on it because it's like, yeah, who cares if it drags out? The animation is so good.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. And it's like 50-50 for me on the animation because I like I like where it's going. I've liked where it's been. But some of the fighting, I just feel like we were supposed to be watching like we're supposed to be watching 2 pirates, not 2 fireworks going off.
No, yeah. My main problem with the fights in the anime is they all feel the same to me, right? Like there's a lot of like hyper movement going on before like these crazy attacks happen. There's a lot of zoom in and close ups, and then they like to use the same specific angle, like it's tilted down into like the corner of the screen while you watch something happen really fast. Like I feel like that I've seen that 5 times already.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the direction for like how they do like the the battle animation could have been done just a little differently, or a lot differently, to be honest with you. But I don't know. I feel like it's still always a work in progress because what is it? I don't think the episodes always have the same art director.
No, they don't.
Especially for the different fights. Yeah, like they'll change it up from time to time.
Yeah, and you know, I'm all cool for like, yeah, like make certain like parts flashy and stuff. But yeah, some of it I'm just like, it's just too much. Like when the clip I'm not a big fan of is like Garp attacking Pirate Island. And just seeing how, like, all these JJK DBZ ass effects are happening. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. Like, all these energy particles in one piece just doesn't feel right.
I never really liked that was really incorporated into hockey. I thought hockey is more of like, well, it was more of like ki, to be honest with you. I think of like Goku before Goku got the Kamehameha, and like when we see him do like a really like rough or like heavy punch, not to really go too sideways with this, but do you remember in Dragon Ball there was an episode where Master Roshi is basically testing Krillin and Goku before he takes them on as students? He's like, hey, I have this giant rock, see if you can move this giant rock. There are just like those moments where I feel like the design and what like the direction in what you were trying to animate, like to show off their power, should have reflected more. And I want to use the term realistically. That is the term, realistically. I want to use that as the term. Like, I feel like they should have been just a bit more realistic. Like when we take Garp's galactic punch thing, I can imagine that when he did that, it didn't have to be like a fireworks show. It could have been like the force of pressure that he's emitting with his hockey. You know what I mean? Like I could have just assumed it was like almost like how Okuyasu's stand thing works. Like just instant pressure, instantly decimating something and evaporating it, just making it gone. You know what I mean? But instead we got like Kaioken times 1,000 in Garp's fist, and then he fired it down like a hydrogen bomb. You know what I mean? And I'm like, it wasn't supposed to be a Hiroshima bomb. You know, it was supposed to be just like an impact. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a punch.
It's a punch. Thank you. There's a whole roundabout way of explaining it. But yeah. It is a punch. And a punch should just have like a minimal physical force, not the force of a hydrogen bomb. So I do agree with you there. Just to say, I would honestly say it's almost the same thing for like the King and Zoro fight. You know, like it's cool that we saw Zoro doing his thing, and I am always a big appreciative fan of when we see like Zoro really going all out. You know, doing 3,000 worlds, doing the Ashura, like just getting to see his whole kit. The fight though is like, okay, I don't really think that Zoro can make those kind of jumps though.
Well,
like,
hold
that's
on,
cool.
Hold on. Never forget when Zoro picked up that building and threw it at Mr. One.
I will never forget that, bro. I'm just saying, like, he's like, you know, if we're talking about, I probably have to reread that fight, but I just imagine like how he was kind of maneuvering through the air and shit like that, like kind of like picking himself back up from inertia.
When he fought King, right?
Yeah, when he fought King, like there was a lot to it, and I'm just like, okay, that's cool. We'll see. So far, so good though. I'm just gonna catch up slowly but surely. Thinking of this not long ago, but I couldn't actually remember where I stopped watching One Piece. And when I thought about it, you're probably not going to believe this. I stopped watching right after we came back from hiatus.
Oh, the time skip.
The time skip, right.
Yeah.
So right after the time skip was over and they said that they were going to resume the anime, I never resumed it from that point. I just stopped watching. The last thing I've ever seen up until anything was right up until the time skip happened. Like Impel Down, him doing what is it, the newspaper, all that other stuff. You know, I think I saw the Romance Dawn movie that came out right around that time, and then that was it. Like I just started reading it right after that.
Dang, you know what though? I think you actually watched more than me. I think I stopped watching. Oh gosh, man, like in middle school, like the end of middle school, getting into high school, because that's when I was like, oh, I could read this. Oh, what's manga? Oh, I'm all in on manga now. I think Alabasta, like the end of Alabasta is probably where I stopped watching.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you got like super... I would honestly use the word lucky here because you finding out about manga, having access to it, and I think like for a lot of us, it was just like whatever we can get our hands on in the library. so much time wasted when you think about things that you really could have gotten into. I could not tell you how many weeks had gone by sitting there just waiting for the next 30 minutes to come back just so that I can see the same fucking 10 or 15 minutes that I saw from the last fucking episode.
Yeah, dude, I'll trust me. I remember going to the library. Oh, what's the book limit? Okay, I'm going to grab all these volumes of manga and I'll bring them back tomorrow or something, you know.
Your speed reading started hella early, dude.
Yeah, and luckily the library we had so much manga. Like, all of Slam Dunk was there, so I was able to read the whole thing.
Oh, that must have been an experience.
And it's kind of crazy, too, that they had some manga they had. Like, I remember, like, talking to Grant. You know, he read Mushishi, like, pretty early on. Dude, they fucking have Mushishi here. Like, this volume right here in my hands, that's like $80.
Damn, was it all beat up and shit?
I don't think so. I mean, as beat up as a library book can be.
That is pretty rad, though. I think that, you know, funny enough, I saw my sister over the holiday. She went to that same library, the library from our hometown, and she told me that they have games now. So she also was playing Cult of the Lamb. She rented it from the library. She was just playing it on her Switch. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, I would definitely consider, any listeners out there, definitely visit your local library.
And also, if you're like me and you have a Kindle, you have the opportunity to rent books through your Kindle as long as your library supports Kindle.
Yeah, that is really cool, actually. I like that.
Though it does get dumb when you try to rent a book there, and then it says, like, oh, all the copies are being rented. I'm like, the freaking, like, file? you can't...
The digital copies.
You can't just hit copy,
all the
paste?
digital copies are in use. I'm still not really that far much into the book.
Oh, Mistborn?
I am on page 45, which is about chapter 3. My initial impressions for these characters that I've met, I feel like I relate to the ska. As a person of color, I feel like I can say that without too much scrutiny. I just feel like...
You're just putting it out there, man.
Yeah, anyway. Kelsier, dude, like, I think I'm saying his name right. Kelsier, right?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay, I think of the word weird, because weird has I before the E. Kelsier.
Well, one thing I learned about fantasy names is, at least for me, like, my first guess is always wrong. It's not until, like, I'll hear someone else say it, and I was like, oh, shit. I've been saying it wrong this whole time.
But I think it what counts is when somebody official says it.
Well, sometimes. We'll have to see when Jerry gets back on the grind for Wheel of Time. There's two people that do the voice for it. Essentially a male and female perspective. Sometimes they'll just say the same words but different pronunciations, and you're like, oh, that does not help me at all.
Yeah, I think by far the craziest thing that I've read in this book is them describing the, if I'm saying this correctly, the obligators, the steel obligators. The description for these guys, insane, bro. I tried to, like, vividly imagine somebody who would look like this. Let me go back to it. So basically, a steel obligator, to my imagination, someone the size of Nemesis from Resident Evil 2 and 3.
Oh, uh-huh.
Oversized, bulky, abdominal arch type motherfucker. Probably at least 1.5 to 2 inch thick steel spikes through his cranium from one end of his eye hole to the other. And the sharp part, I should say, is what going through his cranium. So, like, as I was reading this, I was like, okay, so there's basically a guy running around that has 2 giant steel spikes through his skull that come out the other end of his skull, and he walks around without blinking. And even if he were to blink, all you would see are just giant steel rods through his eye holes. I had so many questions. My first impression was like, does this dude even talk? Does he have the brain capacity to do anything? Like, there's so much shit has to have been pushed around through his skull. So many motor functions no longer plausible. Feasibly, I bet he drools out of his mouth. Like, I just didn't know. But as far as I'm aware, these guys are just, like, fucking monsters, I guess. And I'm like, okay, that's rad. Like, I haven't gotten to the point where he ends up fighting it yet, but he's just about to start. It's kind of interesting to learn that, just based off what you said so far, like how everything kind of ties together. Because I think from what I've read so far, it didn't really seem like they were like advanced to the point where they have interplanetary travel.
No, glad you're liking it though, dude.
Fuck, man, yeah, it's a pretty interesting concept, you know, when you think about like how powers work. And I feel like, you know, with the absorbent amount of like shonen and like all sorts of like fantasy series out there, it's like some ideas I feel like have really just been played out or like kind of run into the dirt a lot. So it's a fresh take on like how things would work and like a power class system. I'm really for it. I like everything I've been reading so far, so I'm just kind of looking forward to seeing what else there is to offer.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, like even the magic system and Way of Kings, like it is different from how it is in Mistborn, but it's also like unique in its own way. The way Sanderson is limiting stuff too is really nice. You can definitely feel the influence of the Wheel of Time's like power system within that series.
Yeah, that's the other thing I need to get into, the Wheel of Time.
Yeah. And yeah, you want a unique power system, that's where you get it, dude. Like, it's crazy how powerful characters can be and how easily you can stop them or even nerf them.
That would kind of make me mad too, don't you think? Like, if there was a point where you were looking forward to like a character like really getting amped up or doing something really great, and they're just about to get started, and it's just like, you know, one action or something led to another, and then all of a sudden it's like they're just rendered useless. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh wow, you barely got to do anything. That sucks.
Yeah, and they're doing that classic, you know, all these series. I'm sure Mistborn does it too. Like, there's the classic trope of like, oh yeah, people can use these powers, but back in the day, in the Age of Legends or whatever they're gonna call it, yeah, that's like all you're doing is baby shit compared to what we were doing. Hey guys, we got some emails this week. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, etc., you can send an email to unversedpodcast@gmail.com. And we got some here from the boy Mark, so thank you as always. Appreciate it. The first one he asks is, what is something that you guys like to do or you want to do despite the age rating saying this is just meant for kids, guys? His example is a funny one. He says bouncy houses, or whatever you call them.
Oh, the jumpers? Like moon houses?
Yeah. It's like, yeah, those are fun, but it's like, yeah, those are just for kids, man. Like, you shouldn't be going in there, you grown-ass man.
First of all, I would like to see a child rent one of those motherfuckers. You can't. Only adults could.
Yeah, let me get my money's worth, dude.
Exactly. That's the exact argument I was going to make, man. If you could pay for it, then you at least deserve a jump or two.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess one thing was I went to... Where was that? I think it was in Idaho one of these summers. We were just walking around in downtown, and my friends knew where we were going, and when we went over there, it's like, oh yeah, they have like this kind of playground-esque area. It's like a little quote-unquote playground area, and there's like a pyramid that you can climb on, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I could just run up this and just have fun. Yeah, why not?
I don't know if I have a good example of this myself. I would think like the last time I did something, I guess that wasn't exactly age appropriate. Honestly, I think it would be like just like when I go to like amusement parks and stuff like that. Okay, I wouldn't say it was an amusement park. So the last thing was we went to like a pumpkin patch, whatever it was, and they had like all of these rides and attractions for like toddlers and babies, basically. It's actually where I don't know if you remember a while back, but like I took a picture of like a really bootleg Goku, because one of the attractions that they had was like one of the, you know, like cars that just spin around in a circle, kind of like teacups, except they don't also spin around. And so they just like basically cobbled all these different carts together. It wasn't like by design choice, but they had like all these different like Gokus. I think it was one Disney character and like a car from Cars. There's nothing really for me to do other than to just like either pretend like I'm having fun watching children do shit or just do the same thing that they're doing. Either get on a ride or just shut up. So I just got on a ride, I guess. It wasn't that bad.
Nice. He also brings up another good question here. He says, do you guys like to re-experience media, like rewatch stuff or replay stuff? And he's like, and if so, why do you not want to watch something new or play something new instead? Like, I guess his example for this is...
I'm a creature of habit. You know, when I consider a show a good show, I'll add it to my list as something that I can replay in the background. Whether I decide that I want to consciously pay any attention to it or not, it's just something that I can be satisfied with knowing that if I play it in the background and if I do decide to do something else, I'm not missing out on anything because I already know what's happening. You know what I mean? So I can just goof off and stop actively paying attention to this thing that I'll enjoy either way because I've already seen it and I've already felt satisfied by it. Time and time again, I actually have thought of like, well, I do want to try to watch something new, or maybe I should, you know, put some time into watching like this new anime or this new show or whatever that people have been telling me is good. But it comes to like a matter of determination. You have to be determined to like sit down and not look at your phone or not read a book or not play a video game while you're doing any of those things, and just like using your brain to fucking watch, listen, and absorb whatever you're looking at. That's kind of like a very far tangent from what you were originally asking, but I just think in regards to like the difference between applying that question to things like video games or applying it to things like shows, there is a different train of thought to them slightly.
Yeah. For me, yeah, game-wise, I rarely will go back and go back and replay something. I don't know, like the only thing that really has me right now is like No More Heroes. Like every now and then I'm like, I feel the itch. I'm like, I just kind of want to just play that again. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, like once I play a game, like that's it. Like I'll just put it away. I will only go back to a game if it's if there's like DLC.
Again, the satisfaction will probably also apply to you. Like there's Elden Ring, right? It's like you did all of that plenty of times, and if we play it, it's just like, you know, because we want to just fuck around or something, you know?
Yeah, but like to like replay like the story of something again, I'm like, I'm okay. I already did it once. Like back in the day when I only had like a handful of games on like my PS2, like yeah, I would play the same game over and over again, you know, because like those were fun games and I just wanted to play them again. But yeah, these days, yeah, once I go through the whole story of a game and like do all that stuff, I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I don't really need to go back unless there's like a very specific reason I want to go back. Like I'm never just gonna touch a game again. Same thing with like, yeah, like shows. I probably won't rewatch for the most part unless it's like, I don't know, like a rare one. And then movies, like yeah, I'll rewatch movies every now and then just because like I might feel like it.
And that's what it comes down to. It's just based off of your feeling.
Yeah,
I just feel like doing this, right?
Yeah, I mean like even manga. Like I've reread One Piece so much, and I've reread like Beelzebub and like Kenichi, and like I've reread Siren, you know, but those are like special mangas. I would love to reread Slam Dunk, but Slam Dunk is like 40 volumes. I don't know if I really want to read all those chapters again, you know, when there's like a bunch of other manga on my list too.
Yeah, I can't imagine like wanting to go back and kind of go through a lot of the manga that I've already read. Like I like Eye Shield and I like Ippo, but I don't think I would reread them.
Mm-hmm. Now,
just based off of the feeling alone.
Now, I will say manga and anime, I think they're a special case for the fact that, like, I mentioned it before, but, like, hey, if I want to, like, I felt like going back to Yu Yu Hakusho at one point. Well, I don't have to read it, but I could watch it because that's sort of its own experience in a way, right? Especially with the English dub. You get to watch it animated and stuff. Mm-hmm. It is like re-experiencing it. In that aspect, I would like, if I want to reread a manga, I would probably watch the anime instead.
Do you feel like you have a good grasp of like retaining a lot of details when you do that? Like for example, like you just try to remember like a lot of the things that happen from what you've read. In my case, like we were watching One Piece and trying to remember like the order of events. Like he does things like from meeting Kobe to meeting Zoro to meeting Nami to meeting Usopp to meeting the fucking guy with the green afro.
Oh yeah.
You know, then like so forth and so forth. You know, I mean, it's just like every now and then I'm just like a character or like a chain of events that I was trying to remember. Like, oh yeah, it didn't end up working that way the way I remembered it. Like I think it was when we were looking in Kokomir Village, Nami's village. Mm-hmm. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not Kokomir Village. It was Sanji's arc. For the longest time, I was, like, thinking, like, I knew 100% for sure, like, this is how it went. That Zeph had eaten his leg instead of just starving because he gave Sanji all of his food and then told Sanji to fuck off to the other side of the rock. When I was rewatching it again, oh, babe, check this out. Like, this is really cool. He gave all of his food to Sanji and he's just gonna eat his leg for like 3 weeks, and and then like right before any of that happened, like we see what actually happened, which is Zeph like going in the water to get Sanji, and his leg is caught on the anchor, so he just cuts his leg off.
No, I hate to say it, Oscar, but you were right the first time, because that's what happens in the manga. He grabs a rock and cuts his leg off so he can eat it.
I see. Well, I'm glad to know I'm not crazy.
Dang, I guess that's too graphic for anime back in '99 or 2000, whenever that episode came out.
Yeah. You know what was funny though? It wasn't the 4Kids dub, but later in that arc, I think it's Don Krieg or like one of the other cooks in Sanji's crew, but she just drops the whole thing. He's like, "You son of a bitch," and I was like, "Oh,
damn,
cool.
Okay."
Like we're not really holding back now at this point.
Yeah, I think there's just some details every now and then that I think that I'm like for sure know, and then I'll look and I'm like, oh damn, I was wrong. But yeah, I don't know. It's a matter of like, it depends like how much I argue with somebody about it, and then how much I'm like, you know what? No, fuck you. Like let me go look it up. Right on. So thank you, Mark, for the emails as always. We appreciate it. So I got a recommendation this week, and let me preface this, okay? I'm recommending this because I think it's really funny, but this is not a sponsored ad. The page I'm recommending is called Goggins Goggles. It's Walton Goggins goggle glasses that he's selling. And when I first saw this, it just popped up randomly in my feed, not as an ad, but just as a regular reel as you doom scroll. Oh, okay, like is this like a shitty meme page? Like making fun of like it's Walton Goggins and goggles, or like, you know, close in words. And then I click on the thing, I'm like, oh wait, no, this is actually real. And not only is it real, but Walton Goggins is doing all the promo stuff for it. It's great because he's just so into it, and some of them are unhinged, and it's just great.
Yeah, those goggles make him look real green goblin. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah,
but I absolutely love the vibe. Like the one clip that you shared, getting Goggins goggles. Gotta get Goggins goggles glasses.
I'm Walton Goggins, man. Yeah, no, it's perfect because I think I've only seen him in Fallout, but I seen him around, and I always see clips of him, like his highlight clips from like Vice Principals specifically, and like all like just him just being like a mean piece of shit. It's just so funny. Like it always starts off with the same one too. He's like, "Why you checking your phone? Ain't no one fucking texting you."
Who the fuck wants to talk to you? Ain't nobody trying to talk to you.
Yeah, God, it's just he's so good, man.
Oh my God. And I think we've talked about this before, but as soon as you are able to, you also need to check him out in what is it?
Righteous Gemstones?
The Righteous Gemstones. Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's just, dude, he's just so funny in that show.
Some of the colors and styles are cool. It just sucks that they're $150 each. It's Walton Goggins, you know, his name's on it. Of course, it's gonna have a price tag like that on it.
I don't think I'm too cut up about the price, and the only reason why is because I do feel like the quality of the glasses itself would probably be worth it. I feel a little worried about people who buy like Ray-Bans and stuff like that, and like their sunglasses, and they can just fall off your face.
Mm-hmm.
But these are sturdy as fuck.
Yeah, and there's just and then like one of the promos is just him cutting an onion, and he's just staring at the screen. So the whole time he's like, "Yeah, see, nothing, not even in my eyes, no tears or anything, dude. Get your Walton Goggins goggles now." And it's like, Jesus, dude. And I love that it's not just one or two. There's like 7 now. Like there's not that many posts. Like they just started this. Like what, they made the Instagram account November 14th. So it's only been a month since this page has been up. And I just hope that Walton Goggins just keeps doing more unhinged promos.
I'm under the about section in the website. I started this line of premium goggle glasses because I felt like nothing out there was doing the job. What job, you ask? A pair of stylish sunglasses that expressed and integrated with my inward and outward journey. So if you're looking for a sexy pair of shades that move with you as you dance to the rhythm of life, Walton Goggins goggle glasses were made just for you.
Yeah, warm regards too. Like that's one you don't hear every day.
Anything just to get the whoa sound coming out of your mouth, man. Just not enough. There's just not enough W's that you can throw out.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, I'll put the link on the Instagram so that way you could just watch the promos. Because yeah, I'd probably be down to buy the glasses one day, but I'm here for the shit posting.
Oh yeah, big dog. I hope he's gonna keep this brand going for as long as he can.
All right, so with that, guys, we're gonna wrap up this episode. Thank you for listening. We'll be back soon.